Good morning, another beautiful day in Brisbane. Check this out, stunning, sunshine, blue skies. This is winter, right? Anyway, look, today I'm gonna do a bit of a rig rundown. I'm heading up the Cape next week, so next Friday, and I've been spending a bit of time making sure everything's fully dialed and, you know, trying to get everything organised before we take off so I don't have any issues on the road. So we're traveling in convoy. We got 5 cars on this trip. So, you know, communication's a big part. I'm running GME XRS 370. This is a great all-rounder whip. It's been good for long distance travel. Flat plains, you know, bushy terrain, things like that. Found it really useful, really good quality and super durable. I've tried the skinnier whips in the past. I just find with corrugations and rattling, they do just wear out, often at the join part of the aerial to the spring. This GME is solid as a rock, has not had any dramas on rough terrain, and learned that lesson on the Simpson a couple of years ago. So buy quality, buy once. So sitting up here in the cockpit, we got a few controls and bits and pieces we got going on. With the GME XRS, I love this thing. It's excellent, really good quality. The push button torque, and I really like, I've actually programmed this to the top button to be the replay button. So if I miss a message, rather than calling through to repeat, I can just hit that and pick it up for myself. It's got a priority button, so we can set that for channel 9, which is our forward drive club channel, or we can set it to whatever we want. If in convoy we want to use channel something else, we find, yeah, we can use that as our priority and link back to it whenever we need. What I've also done is mounted a 5-watt handheld. I also carry GME 5-watt handheld. Purpose of that is for jumping out of the car, spotting, and I want to keep this nice and accessible, but being that it's rough as guts up there, I have also mounted it to the mag mount, or the magnetic mount, just in the center console, so it'll mainly sit switched off, or I can run it on a second channel, but it's a really great way to run 2 radios without it being too cumbersome and having 1,000 aerials hanging off the front of the car. We've got a tire pressure monitor under there. That also gives me temperature gauge. It runs off a little solar panel around the front, so I don't need to keep that hardwired. Phone mount, obviously, and charger. I've got the Hema HX2 Plus, which is the new Hema device. I used to actually run this off run Hema maps off my iPhone. I found it really helpful. I like the older raster map style, and that was great, but with all filming and bits and pieces, and I found some issues with it, but I preferred to have it as a fixed mount, so I've invested in this. It's got all the maps on it, and I think it's going to be really helpful for the trip. Moving up to the dash, I've got the compressor. That sits under the front passenger seat. I've programmed my winch to be center controlled. Winch power, that's the isolator switch, and then I have winch in and winch out as required. The Tigers 11 El Grande Mark III winch that I bought about 10 years ago has still been going strong. It's been sitting in the car, it's copped mud, it's copped dust, it's copped sun, it's copped rain, it's copped water, it's copped flooding. You know, it's had 2 rebuilds that I've done myself. It continues to perform. It's probably the best $300, $400 I think I've ever spent on any part. You know, I'm not a huge fan of King stuff, but you know, this has really proven its worth, and I think the rest of the community would probably attest to that. Probably going to retire it soon, just out of risk mitigation, and find something a bit different. But hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I just hope it keeps working next week for me. I've actually swapped out the cigarette port here for 2 USBs, and they run power for the phone and for the Hema. Sitting up the front here, I've also got an ultra gauge. So this has multiple different pages and 6 different pages of functions you can pre-program. I've actually got this set to the torque converter temperature and the transmission pan temperature. So they're 2 different points. The pan is the central, sump for the transmission oil. The torque converters, which gets a lot of action. So that will fluctuate quite significantly. But what I'm really looking for is the constant pan temperature. Not so much an issue when I'm just driving up the road or forward driving. It can heat up, but it's more for towing. I also get a clear indication of the engine degrees entrant temperature as we're running, and the intake temperature. So if I'm seeing any major changes or fluctuations in each of those, which I think is unnormal, that's going to pick it up far easier than just the regular cluster mount on the actual dash itself. I'm running a TJM snorkel. That's the AirTech snorkel that comes with the FJ Cruiser, that fits the FJ Cruiser. I opted for this versus the Safari one. I found the Safari one just took up too much of this side panel. This runs the air intake hoses in that internal cavity and hooks up to the airbox just inside the engine bay, which is really neat and tidy. I will actually run a unifilter sock over the ram head mount here just to keep dust down and everything like that. We're running a 52-inch light bar. I actually need to reposition that. It's giving me a bit of whistle on here, so I'm going to put that back up on top. Unlike a lot of vehicles, the awnings actually work best on an FJ Cruiser on the driver's side, on the right-hand side. The main reason for that is when you open the back door swings open to the actual driver's side. So the door opening function on the FJ Cruiser is a bit different to the Prados and stuff we see around here in Australia. This was a concept car originally conceptualized around 2008, I think, and primarily built for US markets. So the door opens out to the left, or opens for the right-hand side. So having the awning makes more sense to have on the driver's side. I've run these drifter seat carriers or seat bags for the kids in the back. Obviously for the trip, the kids seats will come out, and I'll be flipping these around and putting these on the front side of the passenger seat for much easier access. I'm going to keep camera gear in here, bits and pieces. At the moment, we've got our air compressor hose, bits and pieces with that. So it's a great little piece. Kids keep their drink bottles in here and any little trinkets and stuff. But I'll be reconfiguring this for camera gear, which should be cool. I'm running the Hankook Dynapros Mark IIIs. I'd seen really pretty ordinary tails from the Mark II Dynapros, but I thought I'd give these a go. It was actually during COVID when I got these. It was the only thing that was available in the size that I wanted. I'm running a 285 70-17. It's a Hankook mud terrain. It's been fantastic. I haven't had any problems with these things. They do get a bit noisy after they've sort of worn through a bit. But as you can see, plenty of sidewall damage. And these things are still going strong. I believe these are actually a 3-ply construction too, but the issues I'd seen with the Mark IIs were the sidewalls really deteriorated really quickly. These Mark IIIs have been fantastic. I've ripped them up at the springs all over the shop, and they just continue to deliver. So they've been really good. They're about a $350 tyre, I think, from memory, but that was a couple of years ago. They might have changed. Might be a bit more now, but certainly been great value for money from my point of view. Under the front, we're running Bilstein shock systems with Bilstein springs. This is a 2-inch lift, and it's been, a real staple. I've been really happy with these. I got these installed when we went out to the Simpson Desert a few years ago. They were fantastic on the Unadata track. A few corrugations through there. They just perform beautifully. They got a really good balance in terms of slow compression rates. But when you throw it into corners under load, the stability on this car is fantastic. I've been really impressed with it. Under the vehicle, I'm running the K-On stainless bash plate system. See, this does a really good job of contouring itself up around all the essential components. It's not just a giant sheet of metal that runs all the way along. Tin and the guys at K-On have done such a good job. Pretty stoked. Tin's got an FJ himself, so he knows what he's doing. He uses it as a nice model, but this thing's been great. Actually hasn't taken any hits yet. I've beaten the crap out of a TJM system. It was all steel, which did a great job, served its purpose, but it was time for a new one, and I've been really happy with this lately. Up the top, we're running a Front Runner Slimline 2 roof rack. It's got the Front Runner mounting brackets for the Darche 270 awning. It's also got the ring eyelet pulls to put in there. This actually has a crossbar system. I find this really helpful, carries a lot of load. I certainly don't overload it, just big, bulky, lightweight stuff. Max tracks and the Front Runner shovel mount system too. So this has been a new addition, nice neat way to carry the shovel and keep it out of the way. That's a jerry can holder. It's a Front Runner jerry can holder, but I only really load that up for long distances between fuel, of course. Don't need to carry it unnecessarily, but that platform sits there permanently, and I drop the mounting bracket onto it as required. Into the back of the car now. At the top we've got two spotties. They're controlled at the dash. They're for reversing, they're for camp lights, floodlights as required, and whatever. So look, they do the job. They're not expensive, they're not good quality, but they do the job. So this is the back of the vehicle. You guys have seen this probably in other episodes and bits and pieces. I've played with different setups over the years. I really like this. I'm trying something a bit different for the Cape. The thing I've learned, and really the main reason you do a shakedown trip, is to work out how you're going to access things, the frequency of what you access, and what it is that you access on a regular basis. So water, keep it nice and simple. 20 litre jerry can, slide it out, and I can pull water as I need. These drawers, they're just loosely mounted. I will strap a tie down over them for corrugations and rough roads. This is just basic cooking essentials that I'm going to use on a daily basis: bin bags, coffee cups, bits and pieces. Up the top, it's more mechanical pieces, emergent sort of supplies. We've got Mozzie repellents, chargers, fan to go in the swag, toilet paper, rope, bits and pieces. So they're the regular things I'll probably be accessing. And I'm not overloading them, because if you're overloading them, you've just got to unpack them every time you want to use them anyway. This is a nice little neat slide out table. This is a Coleman. Picked this up from Snowy's. It measures about 600 mils deep. It folds out to obviously 1.5 meters or 1.2. It's a great size for just solo travel. Got the travel oven up here. Over in this little pocket over the side, I've got some spare parts. I've got an alternator. I do have a bearing, two front bearings. I have a CV joint sitting on the floor in the back, and I actually also have a starter motor. I'm carrying a couple of spare parts with us on this trip. I haven't carried them in the past, but as the car's getting a bit older and still got a lot of the original parts, I'm starting to carry more. Being that we're up and remote, we're not as remote as somewhere like the desert, but the issue that I don't want to have to face is be waiting for 3 or 4 days for a part to arrive. So chosen to be somewhat self-sufficient. I'm carrying an alternator, a bearing set for the front bearings, a starter motor, and also a CV joint, a whole CV axle. So the point of the alternator, if it just decides to crap out for whatever reason, it's an FJ, it's basically a Prado 150, but I don't want to have to rely on a delivery schedule to get that. I've got it with me. Starter motor, they're notoriously bad, I guess, for sucking in mud on the FJ Cruiser. They've got 2 breather valves underneath. If they suck in mud and they clog up, mine has actually stopped working in the past, and you can't restart the car. You need the starter. So I'll carry a spare. They're a pain in the bum to change, so I really hope I don't have to, but I've got it if I need it. CV joint, obvious reasons. If I snap something, I've got it there with me. And the front bearings is more just in the case of extreme emergency. The corrugations, fatigue on this car, it's done 250,000 Ks. If those bearings decide that they want to get worn out and blow out on me, then I've got something with me that I can actually change. So it's more about just being prepared. In the back, here's the kitchen. Most important, we've got 1, 2, 3 stubby holders. These are just magnetized. They're fantastic. They just sit there. Paper towel sitting on a bit of bungee cord. Spare radio, camp light if I need it, just as more of a hazard light. That doesn't really do much, it just flashes. Cutlery, axe mounted into there too. So in the actual drawer itself, I've also got things like PVC bag, the cookers under that. These are some camp lights. These are the fantastic hardcore LED lanterns. I can't recommend these enough. I've got 8 of these now, 2 packets, 8 in total. They're brilliant with a camper trailer. These things are fantastic. You just turn them on. They literally mount to anything. They're magnetized, so good. And there's a little bungee cord on the back too. So if you're looking for a camp light option, do these. They're fantastic. And the coolest thing I love about this is that it is 1 USB output for 4 others. So 1 to 4. So you only need 1 connection feeding those 4 lights. Brilliant, great design, well done hardcore. So the way I turn the back of this car into a quick standing kitchen is basically pull out the drawer. That stuff can all stay there because the drawer is shut. Over here next to the fridge, I've got a little mini table, little mesh table from Drifter. I'll throw that on top of the drawer. I've got a whole kitchen. Don't have a big slide out drawer, don't have the weight of the table. That thing weighs about 3 kilos and serves perfectly. I can then grab out a chopping board, and I've got a chopping board ready to go. So the convenience of that is slimline, it's lightweight, super convenient, and it's using the functions that I've already got set up in the car. Yep, nothing new here, but I've got the Engel 40, the Engel fridge slide. I really like this, it's really solid. It's a simple system, and it's worked for me for over 10 years now. So look, same fridge, doing its job. I'm really happy with it. Further in the back, we take the water out. I've actually got a full charging station in here. Back, I've got the King's 3000 watt inverter. It's probably a bit of an overkill, but it's all good, does the job. It's been here for 6 years now and does the job. It's good for charging the drones, computers, all those types of things. I've actually just, last night, fitted the hardcore 12 volt control box up the back. It's just got more outlets, type C outlets as well, and that lets me sit, live out of the kitchen and charge the phones in the back of the car rather than relying on the front of the car to charge. So guys, thanks for watching, thanks for showing interest. Look, please like and subscribe if you like the content you're seeing. I'm gonna have a pretty busy time on the camera in the next couple of weeks shooting content, so please like, please subscribe, and can't wait to go check out the Cape. Haven't been up there, it's my first time, really looking forward to it. There's a bit of water in the creeks and rivers up there, so yeah, it's going to be unreal. Anyway, stay tuned and take care.